Okay, so that was a playthrough of the solo that we'll be talking about in this video today. The way this is going to work is that we're going to break down the solo into different sections. For each section, I'll play it for you very slowly. Then we'll talk about the techniques being used, how to practice it, what the difficult parts of each section are, and all that kind of stuff. Just a note about tuning, we're going to be in drop F sharp on a 7-string, but for the solo, you could actually practice this on a 6-string guitar because the solo only ever touches these 6 strings, so we're never actually playing the bottom 7-string. But okay, let's just get into the tutorial. So I'm going to play the first section very slowly, and then we'll talk about what's going on there. Okay, so that's a playthrough of the first section. The only thing really notable about it is there is some interesting stuff going on in the very beginning, which you can kind of hear as a listener. Namely, there are some scratching noises, and those scratching noises is the ghost picking, or hitting ghost notes, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it ghost picking. So this section is actually a little bit challenging because of the ghost picking, because what you have to do is hit the ghost note, but then also hit other notes with your other fingers at the same time. So it's kind of hard to get down, but with some practice, you can eventually get it down. But I'd say that that is the most difficult part of the very first section. Otherwise, everything else is pretty straightforward. Okay, so the next section after that introduction is the first tapping section that we're going to discuss. So let me go ahead and play the tapping section, and then we'll explain what is happening. Basically what's going on here is that we're just playing a bunch of tapping triplets, and the structure of each triplet for the most part is the same. It's going to be kind of like this. So you're going to be starting the triplet with your right hand, doing a pull off, catching the pull off with your left, and then hammering with your ring finger on your right. It's kind of like that. And then what makes it sound so unique is that he does a triplet on one string, but then he skips over 2 strings and does another triplet over there, and it's in rapid succession, so that's why it sounds so complicated. Another thing to note about this tapping section is that you're going to want to use 2 fingers on your right hand, so 2 fingers on your right hand to perform the tapping. It gives more efficient motion, and whenever you're playing guitar, you obviously want the most efficient way to play something. And also just generally about mastering this tapping section, I would say to play this really, really slowly, maybe at like 25% speed of the song, because this tapping section goes by really quickly. You're going to have to slow it down and listen to it by ear and fiddle around and eventually learn the muscle memory. Okay, so that is the first tapping section, and this leads into the next tapping section, which I'll demonstrate now. So that was the playthrough of the second tapping section. In this case, it is actually just tapping all triplets. And some other notes are that you're going to be only playing on these 2 strings, you know, the bottom 2 strings. And the left hand is just kind of hanging out in the 8-10 fret range, catching the hammer-on, or pull-offs and hammer-ons. Can you kind of see it? The left hand is kind of just sitting there, just hammering 10 either on the second or the first string. And again, to master this, you just need to play very slowly to the track, learn the muscle memory, and yeah, go from there. And so after that, there's some tremolo picking. It just goes 17, 13, 15, 10, 13, even though I just hit some random fret. So it's pretty simple, just 17, 13, 15, 10, 13. Okay, the next section is what I like to call like the ascension riff. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate it, and then we'll talk about what's going on. So after you're done with the tremolo picking up here, you want to get your index finger very quickly onto the 3rd fret of the 5th string as soon as you can. And then the whole tab starts from there. So you kind of go down the scale, and then you kind of go up the scale and you do some slides. So for this section, you kind of need to be good at alternate picking. If you're already good at alternate picking, then this section shouldn't be too difficult. If you're not good at alternate picking, then this is a good opportunity to master your alternate picking or get better at your alternate picking. In the playthrough that I showed you, you can take notes of where I was using and positioning which fingers in time for the next notes. For example, when I slid up to here on 7, the next note I'm going to play is the 5th fret on the 2nd string. So I slid up with my pinky, and that way my index is in a really good position to just play the next note. So there's little things like that you should also try to pay attention to and pick up on for yourself as well. Okay, and then the next section is what I call like the pull-offs section, because there's a lot of pull-offs. It's just pull-off city here. So let me demonstrate that. So for this section, you want to be strong with your pinky. There's a lot of your pinky happening here, and being able to fret and hammer on really fast with your pinky is going to be important here. And again, like I said for the previous section, you'll want to look at the fingering that I chose to play certain notes. I chose very specific fingering for the way that I played the notes in this section, so that it's most efficient when you're playing it at 100% speed of the song. Because what you practice at 50% speed of the song, that technique is what you want to use at 100% speed. There can't be two different techniques. You don't want to do that. If you find that one technique you practice at 50% doesn't scale to 100%, then you need to go back to 50% and figure out why it doesn't scale and figure out a different technique. Oh, and then the tremolo picking at the end, that's just basically 24, 20, 22, 17, and then one note on 20. So it's kind of like the previous tremolo picking we did earlier. But anyways, yeah, so that's basically the pull-off section. And then this gets into the final tapping section. This is like the tapping outro. So I'll go ahead and just demonstrate how that goes. Okay, so this tapping outro, there's a couple things to note about it. First of all, it is comprised of 8 triplets. So that way when you go look at the tab, you can look for 8 triplets. You'll see that there are going to be 8 triplets, and you'll know how to break down the tab and how to practice it. The second thing about it is that these triplets, the individual notes, this isn't too important, but the individual notes aren't evenly spaced on record. So then it's not like they're all 30-second notes or something. They're all kind of like a little bit everywhere. So you don't need to play this exactly perfectly. You can kind of just play it as fast as you can. And this was one of the last parts that I got down, really, because it just goes by just so fast. It just goes by so fast. So what I recommend to practice for this is to play it at like 20%, 25% speed of the song, and seriously just keep it there and to just master it, just master the muscle memory. But okay, that is the end of the solo. We explained all the different sections. Yeah, I think we covered everything. Just some final notes about practicing this song. I would recommend that you first get a copy of the track and then play it to it slowed down to 50%. Obviously for that last tapping section you want to even go slower. The reason for that is because you need to develop the muscle memory to even begin to practice this at full speed. If you don't have the muscle memory, then you're not going to just magically start playing this song, this solo. So you need to get the muscle memory. Once you have the muscle memory, you can start bumping up the speed of which you are playing at. And then once you are at a certain speed, like maybe 60, 70% BPMs, I'd recommend taking a break from playing along with the track and start playing with a metronome. I would not recommend playing with a metronome when you first try this song, because the metronome is just gonna tick so mind-numbingly slowly, it's gonna be even hard to keep track of it. So that's why I'm saying develop the muscle memory first, then go to the metronome. But okay, that summarizes the tutorial. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. I don't know if I'll make more videos like this in the future. You know, I'd be interested in discovering how to play the rest of the song. I kind of have already started that, so maybe that would be something that I could figure out and share as well. But in any case, thank you for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time.